Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Ace here. Today's video is going to be about the racing games for the 3DO. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to racing games on the 3DO, well, it's not a very big selection. There's only 7 titles ever released, 5 for the US and 2 in Japan. So, enough said. Let's get started with the US games. First up is Road and Track presents The Need for Speed, or just simply known as The Need for Speed. This is actually the very first ever Need for Speed game. A lot of people don't know that. So it wasn't released on the PC until '95, and the PlayStation and Saturn came around '96. The game was ported to those as well in the same year. There's 8 cars in the game. It's a pretty well balanced mix. Got the US represented with the Viper and the Vet. Japan with the NSX, the RX-7, and the Super Turbo. And Europe, the Diablo, the Testarossa, and the 911. There are cops in the game. Fortunately, they're not much of a factor. Any of the cars can outrun them. I mean, the only way they're going to catch you is if you wreck in some traffic or you just decide to come to a complete stop. So, my only criticism of the game, there's no 2-player split-screen racing. That really sucks. Although I think the PlayStation and Saturn ports do have 2-player mode. I'm not really sure. Now, if you're looking to pick up a copy of Need for Speed on eBay, you can expect to pay 99 cents for just the disc itself. If you're looking for something complete, you'll probably pay around $20. Next is Road Rash. What makes this a pioneer kind of game? It's got licensed music. Most notable band is Soundgarden. I don't know any of those other bands. I was a huge Soundgarden fan back in the day. Now, my only criticism, just like Need for Speed, there's no 2-player split-screen racing. Now, on eBay, you can expect to pay 99 cents for just a disc, complete, probably around $10. Next is Crash and Burn. This is the 3DO's first racing game. This was 1993. This was the pack-in game for the FC1 console. This is a futuristic car combat racing game. You know, you don't necessarily have to kill all your opponents to win the race. I mean, it's just like any other racing game, you'd finish first to win. Learning curve is pretty hard. I think the best I've done so far is 2nd place. On eBay, you can expect to pay $5 to $10, and that'd be for the not for resale jewel-cased version. It was also released in a retail long cardboard box. You don't see too many of those pop up on eBay. It's something a little more scarce. Next is MegaRace. Unfortunately, I don't have a box or a jewel case to show you guys. Just like Crash and Burn, it's a futuristic car combat racing game. Unlike Crash and Burn, you have to kill your opponents to win the race. Generally, you're given 3 laps to do so, and if you don't kill them all in the 3 laps, you don't win. MegaRace is a little harder to find game. You don't see it on eBay too often, but it's not rare or expensive. It's like most of the other racing titles, about 99 cents for just a disc, up to $20 for a complete copy. Last of the US releases is BC Racers. It's kind of an interesting game. You're sort of like the Flintstones meeting Road Rash. You're pretty much on these Flintstone type motorcycles with a sidecar. The character in the sidecar does serve a purpose. The character is armed with a club, so you pull alongside your competitor and you can hit him with the club. It's kind of hard to do. It's a little pointless because the tracks are short. There's not very many straightaways and there's some pretty sharp turns. So in terms of clubbing your opponent, it's not really going to help you win the race. What makes this game significant from the others, it's the only 2-player split-screen racing game for the 3DO. On eBay, you can expect to pay probably just a couple bucks for just the disc. You know, complete, probably $20 to $25. You know, just like MegaRace, it's kind of a more scarce game, so it doesn't pop up on eBay too often. So that concludes the US releases. Let's look at the 2 Japanese games. First one is AutoBahn Tokio. Now, you think a game with a cool title, cool artwork, should be a pretty cool game, right? Not necessarily. Not a bad game. It's been regarded as a poor man's Need for Speed, although this game, it's harder to find, a little more expensive than Need for Speed. Just like Need for Speed, it's got 3 tracks. There's only 4 cars, no license for the cars, but you can tell what they are. There's an RX-7, a 300ZX, a little Honda, and there's a white car that looks like a Mercedes of some kind. Now the problem with this game is the controls, but they are manageable. And if you're looking to buy Autobahn Tokio, prices have gone down in recent years. Last I seen on eBay, $20 for a brand new factory sealed copy, and that's much less than what I paid for mine a few years back. And lastly, this is the rarest, most valuable, hardest to find of all the 3DO racing games. That's F1 GP. And this is an official F1 game. There is a license, so you have all the drivers, the teams, the tracks. It's all real. It's a very hard to find game. I've been looking for this game for probably the past few years. You know, it very, very rarely shows up for sale on eBay. I only seen it on eBay once, and it sold for a pretty good amount of money. I bought mine for $35, and that's generally what the game is worth. And the seller was from Japan too, so if you manage to get a hold of a copy of F1 GP, chances are you're going to be buying it from someone in Japan. You know, problem with this game, the controls, they're sort of like Autobahn Tokyo, but a little worse. Graphics, you know, graphics are okay, but it could have been better. But it's pretty comparable to like the Formula 1 racing games you see on DOS for that era. But this concludes my video for racing games for the 3DO. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.